Hello there and welcome to CNR Extra here on CTV, coming to you live from our studios at number 5 Ola Hansen Lane, Tesano, Accra. My name is Philip Ni Latte. Coming up. Minority in Parliament to boycott proceedings in support of Asin North MP court case as he is sworn in.
I, James Jachi Kwesen, having been elected a member of parliament, do in the name of the Almighty God swear. Do in the name of the Almighty God swear.
Father of late NSMQ star reveals desperate attempts to save son's life.
Trying to make him survive until yesterday morning when he passed on.
It's not easy.
It's not easy. It's not easy, but the word of the Lord says that in all things we should give thanks to God.
President Akufo-Addo unveils ambitious plan to expand tourism sites or tourist sites nationwide as he commissions redeveloped Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park.
As part of measures to make Ghana the hub of tourism in West Africa, we're building museums and other tourist attractions in various parts of the country. The construction of a museum in Heroes Park for the Big Six, a memorial park in Cape Coast for the Aborigines.
Still on CNR Extra, food suppliers picket at the National Food Buffer Stock Company to demand unpaid debts.
We've had meetings on several occasions with the minister, and all that came out of that meeting was promises which has never seen the day of light, and that is why we are fed up. So that's why we are here. We are not living here until we get our money.
Once again, many thanks for staying with us here on City TV as we bring you CNR Extra here. My name is Philip Ni Latte. I'm doing this with Jude Mensah Duncan. How are you doing, my brother?
Oh, it's always a pleasure to be here and go through the big stories that made the headlines in the news. Philip.
Exactly. And you out there, you aren't left out because you can join us on our WhatsApp line 0204447033. You can also join us on YouTube as we stream there live on CTV. Let's bring you the very first story. And Minority in Parliament says that it will boycott proceedings in support of the Asin North MP court case as he was sworn in yesterday. Let's bring you that insight.
The minority in Parliament has taken a stance to abstain from parliamentary proceedings on days when the re-elected Member of Parliament for the Asin North constituency, James Jachi Kwesen, is scheduled to appear in court for an ongoing criminal case against him. Jachi Kwesen was sworn in as an MP for Asin North on Tuesday, July 4, by the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin. Now, in an address in Parliament after the swearing in, the minority leader, Dr. Kaisel Atoforsin, announced that the entire minority caucus will accompany Mr. Kwesen to court and refrain from participating in the business of the House on those specific days. There is more in the following report by City News' Ni Ayikwe Okai.
The former President John Dramani Mahama, the leadership of the NDC and some party faithfuls, together with traditional leaders and the clergy, on Tuesday stormed Parliament to witness the swearing-in of the re-elected Member of Parliament for Asin North, James Jachi Kwesen. Now, while most of the minority members were clad in white apparel for the occasion, a few of the majority members were present to partake in the exercise. Let's take a watch at some of the major highlights of the moment.
Honorable Johnson Asiedu Inketia, Chairman of the party. I, James Jachi Kwesen, having been elected a member of parliament, do in the name of the Almighty God swear, that I will bear true faith and allegiance, to the Republic of Ghana, as by law established, that I will uphold, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana, and that I will faithfully and conscientiously discharge the duties of a member of parliament. So help me God. Honorable members, congratulations.
In an address to the House after the swearing-in of James Jachi Kwesen, the minority leader, Dr. Kessie Latuforsen, served notice that the caucus would not take part in business activities in Parliament whenever the criminal case against the Asin North MP James Jachi Kwesen is being heard at the court.
I must commend our colleague, Mr. Kwesi, for his courage and resilient spirit. He has prevailed in the face of persecution. I am aware that today he is due to appear in court, the Speaker, to defend the trumped charges against him. My message to him is to take solace in the good book, in Deuteronomy 31:6, which says, the Speaker, do not be afraid or terrified because of them. The Lord your God goes with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. The Speaker, I wish to serve notice. The Speaker, I wish to serve notice that the entire minority group will accompany our colleague to court today and any other day that he is to appear in court. Mr. Speaker, we are solidarizing with our colleague and we will not participate in the business of the House anytime our colleague is in court, and we will be withdrawing from the chamber after this ceremony if the court processes indeed happens today. So, Speaker, amid persecution, cooperation will certainly suffer.
On his part, the majority leader, Seiche Mensah Bonsu, denied assertions that the criminal charges preferred against the Asin North MP James Jachi Kwesen is an act of selective justice.
If this provision comes to be applied, nobody from a true conscience can say that this is persecution or selective justice. Let us respect the Constitution that all of us are sworn to uphold. Selectivity would be when you elect to apply in piecemeal the entirety of the Constitution. Mr. Speaker, so people should understand and appreciate this Constitution.
The traditional leaders from Asin North who took part in the swearing-in of James Jachi Kwesen later addressed the media, calling on President Akufo-Addo and the Attorney General to ensure that the charges preferred against Jachi Kwesen are dropped.
Yes, sir. Omampani ne Attorney General say, "Sir, and Samuya, Echemu Elkosi Yinano. Yes, sir. Omampani say, Oma ni Enchem, Naya to Abaye, Yanaya Bako, Yan Kabum, Nayan Femu or Mino. If he says, or say my announcer, I say no. Satambia, court to court and summon the Bemwa. Yenya and Puntio Bia Ewo. And Yasra or my penny, ne Atomic General say, Omo Modin, na Omuntrasa and Samoa, air questioning them. If he say, Anya Baby, Yera, question, on one day the Yanukai. Yayino, say when you Yanukai, and Tisa. And somewhere air kukosu court some any metu macao Yen nina actually Mesre na yankamum anya baako na praye wo hoi wukabo uyi baako a ebu na wukabo mu a emu enti yasra o my penny se o my nyina yankamum.
Reporting from Parliament, my name is Ni Ayukwe Okan for City News.
So the minority has stated its stance that any day that James Gyakye Quayson will appear in court, they would boycott proceedings in Parliament. And James Gyakye Quayson will be appearing in court tomorrow. Yeah. Yesterday it was adjourned because of the swearing in that happened in Parliament. But what do you make of the stance of the minority concerning this issue?
I mean, Philip, the stakes are high, and you can understand why it is so. From the time the courts declared the seat vacant up until the whole election process, up until now that he's been sworn in, a lot has happened. And there's actually precedent to show for this. And you can understand why traditional leadership is coming in with different calls from the Attorney General to put aside this matter and let sleeping dogs lie. Some of the arguments, in my opinion, haven't been convincing enough, because I'm personally of the view that once a criminal process has started, in that we understand it's a perjury and forgery case against the elected member of parliament for Asin North. I mean, even you want to go through the whole process, and at the end of the day, it's not only for what's happening right now, but it serves as a precedent really for the next generation. I mean, when everything is done and dusted, we need something to refer to when similar cases like this come up again. So for that reason, I think it's expedient that the court go through the full process and not say, well, once he's won the seat again, then there's no reason. If he's really clean and he's really clear, like the NDC and himself, that's Honorable Gyakye wants us to believe, I think he should just go through the process. I understand why the NDC would also want to throw their weight, the minority would want to throw their weight behind one of their own, that's the member of parliament. I mean, in 2012, we saw something similar. I've seen some members of the majority try to create the impression that what happened between the former member of parliament for Boku Central, Adamu Sakande, and Honorable Gyakye Quayson are the same, except that if you go through the facts, you realize that in 2012, I mean, there was some attempt, right, by Honorable Gyakye Quayson to let go of his Canadian citizenship, while same can't be said for Honorable Adamu Sakande. But I mean, that is why the law
we'll have more conversation on this. Differently. But let's bring you a report on why the case was adjourned yesterday.
The legal team for the Asin North MP, James Gyakye Quayson, has backed calls for the state to discontinue the criminal trial against their client. They made this known after securing an adjournment at the High Court to make it possible for James Gyakye Quayson to be sworn in. There is more in this report.
The criminal trial of the Asin North Member of Parliament, James Gyakye Quayson, was adjourned on Tuesday to Thursday, July 6, due to his swearing in. His lawyers were expected to move a motion for a stay of proceedings on Tuesday as part of an appeal filed at the Court of Appeal. The appeal is to seek a reversal of the decision of the High Court to hear the case on daily basis. But ahead of the hearing, Parliament submitted a letter to the court notifying the parties of the swearing-in ceremony. Prosecution and defense in the matter therefore applied for an adjournment of proceedings, which the court obliged and adjourned to July 6. After proceedings, Head of Legal Affairs of the NDC, Abraham Amaleba, expressed satisfaction at the decision to adjourn the case. He, however, backed calls for the Attorney General to enter a nolle prosequi into the matter.
I think the Attorney General does not understand his role. His role as an Attorney General is to prosecute on behalf of the Republic. And the people of this country are the custodians of the sovereignty. So if a Ghanaian feels that it's a complete waste of time to continue prosecuting the MP-elects and voices out that the Attorney General should use his power of nolle, I don't see anything wrong with that.
Meanwhile, Deputy Attorney General Alfred Tian-Yeboah, who did not oppose the request for adjournment after proceedings, however, hoped that the Act of Parliament issuing excuse letters for the accused will not be regular in the trial.
We hope it does not become a norm. you may be an MP, that's all right. But if you have a matter in court, you must also be in court. Because you have two arms of government, the legislature, I've had the two arms, the legislature and then the judiciary. If you have an assignment to perform in parliament, you do it. If you want an assignment or a duty to also perform in the court, you also do it.
Former chairman of the New Patriotic Party, Peter McMahon, who was in court, debunked claims that the ongoing prosecution is partly to account for the NPP's loss in Asin North. He revealed that the party is undertaking a review to account for the loss.
I have never seen an election in which you can pinpoint to one item which led to a defeat. There are multiplicity of functions and actions during an election.
Lawyers of Gyakye Quayson and the state will return to the Accra High Court on Thursday, July 6, and the agenda will be essentially to argue out the application for a stay of proceedings due to the Court of Appeal case that has been filed seeking to reverse the decision of the High Court to try the case on a daily basis. Reporting for City News, Hansen Ajiman.
So it's been stated out clearly the reason why the adjournment was done yesterday, moved to 6th of July, that is Thursday.
Yeah, I mean, the minority were loud and clear on the floor yesterday through their minority leader, Honorable Atuforsen, where they said that for every time that the court sits, they are going to show support in person at the courts to support one of their own. Yesterday, I listened to the former Attorney General during the former President Mohamed tenure as president. That's Madam Maretta Apia Pong. Yeah, and she made some really interesting counter arguments to what we've heard from the Attorney General. And for me, it's quite interesting. In all of this, my only concern is that the comments from other sectors, other parts of in the public, let me say, from the chiefs, some of them quite prejudicial, some of them do not augur well, right? So I just hope that in the coming weeks, there should be some sanity in the system. We pray that, we hope that the courts are able to go through the process, and it should be a fair trial, right? And at the end of the day, whatever happens, we'll take it in good faith. This won't be the first time a member of parliament is being tried for having dual citizenship. Dorcas Tofe, the Jomoro MP, Alas Anuma, former MP for Zabzugu, even quite recently, right, we also had Adamu Sankade, like I mentioned. So this is not the first time. We hope that the courts will be a fair trial, and at the end of the day, we'll go through the facts and see who is really, like, if he says it's as clean as we want to believe, I'm sure the courts would decide that. And we hope that there will be no influences from any courts because of public pronouncements and the likes.
Right, so tomorrow, hopefully we'll monitor what is going to happen in Parliament, if really the minority in Parliament will boycott proceedings because of what will be happening at court. But still, let's still remain in court, because the former CEO of the defunct bank, that is Capital Bank, Atuesi, he has been handed another lifeline to redeem his financial obligations. Let's bring you that insight.
Former CEO of defunct Capital Bank, Atuesi, has been handed another lifeline to redeem financial obligations to the state or risk facing jail term. The court in May 2023 gave him a 2-month window to at least pay in full the first 20 million cedis out of the 60 million cedis he owes the state. But in court on Tuesday, the convict was not able to meet this directive. There is more in the following report.
Atuesi was convicted in December last year on his own plea after striking a deal with the state under Section 35 of the Courts Act to avoid custodial sentence. He has, however, been having a hard time fulfilling a 90 million debt obligation imposed on him by the court in replacement of the custodial sentence. According to the agreement, Atuesi is mandated to pay 90 million cedis by the end of this year, for which he paid 30 million Ghana cedis in December 2022 and was expected to pay the remainder in 3 equal installments in 2023. The first tranche was due for payment by the end of April 2023, failure of which placed him at risk of being handed a jail sentence. But at the end of April, the convict had only paid 6 million of the 20 million Ghana cedis. The state filed an application to get the court to issue the custodial sentence, as the terms of the agreement required that a breach of the payment plan will amount to the imposition of custodial sentence on him. The judge, Justice Eric Cheibafor, however, upon a request by lawyers of the convict, deferred hearing of the application to impose a custodial sentence. Ato Essien's lawyers argued that agreements have been reached with a company for the liquidation of some properties belonging to their clients to pay for the debt. But in the past 2 months, it has emerged that Ato Essien has only made an additional payment of 2 million Ghana cedis. This brings the total amount of the first tranche paid to 8 million Ghana cedis, with a remainder of 12 million Ghana cedis. This means that out of the 90 million debt, the convict has paid only 38 million Ghana cedis, leaving a remainder of 52 million Ghana cedis. In court on Tuesday, his lawyers asked for 3 more months to liquidate the properties, but the judge, who believes he has been magnanimous towards Ato Essien, reluctantly gave him another lifeline to the end of July to make payment of the 12 million Ghana cedis.
Now it's been given another lease of life that's up to the end of July. Let's hope, per the orders that the judge made today, we are very certain that on the next agenda date, if he doesn't pay up, the judge will have to drop the hammer. So we come to the end of this matter.
In court on Tuesday, lawyers of Ato Essien outlined issues such as the seizure of the passport of their client as challenge to raising the amount. His lawyers hinted of plans to institute an application demanding for the release of his passport to him, but the state says this will be vehemently opposed.
If we're a convict, you are not supposed to be traveling. You are supposed to be being in custody. We're giving a special dispensation and then you are at home coming to court. So if you give it a passport and you go and you don't come back, Ghanaians can blame me. They can even blame the court.
So Ato Essien's case has been adjourned to July 27, a very important one that was stated by the lawyers of Ato Essien, stating that the issues such as the seizure of the passport of their client as a challenge to raising the amount that he's supposed to pay. And also, the lawyers, they've hinted of plans to institute an application demanding the release of his passport to him. But the state says this will be vehemently opposed. But then that means, how is he going to raise the money to pay?
We should try to raise the money locally. I mean, you have said, right.
Raise the money to pay.
I mean, you can understand his argument. So can you for the Deputy Attorney General. Because then what if he goes and we don't hear from him anymore, right? And he's making the case that, see, I have partners, I have donors
that I'll rely on to give me the money.
Yeah. So then I have to meet them. But then in the era of technology, I'm not sure you have to be physically present to be able to broker any deal whatsoever. But
sometimes your presence is needed.
Well, I agree with you, but like I'm saying, there are technological advances really right now that you could use. You could do it by a Zoom call, right? That's if you really trust whoever you are going to see. But I mean, Philip, this one, the bigger picture for me goes back to an Afrobarometer report that was released in 2020 about the public perception of Ghana's judiciary and the level of justice delivery in the country, where increasingly some Ghanaians feel that the law applies differently to certain people. Not too long ago, it was rife on social media about how some workers in a fast food company were jailed for stealing. They were jailed about 5 years, I believe, for stealing
I think packs of chicken or
chicken
something.
and yam and stuff like that. Whereas somebody has embezzled these huge sums of money, I mean, collapsed businesses, collapsed people. I mean, people have gone through a lot with regards to this whole banking sector crisis, specifically.
But let's see how this
the Capital Bank. A minute, and now we are here, and it's like they are giving him some leverage. Let me just read briefly the Afrobarometer report. It says a majority of Ghanaians say that people are always or often treated unequally under the law. That's 58%, and that officials who commit crimes always or often go unpunished. 61%. So I think this is a real test for our judiciary and our justice delivery system in the country.
Well, let's see how this issue unfolds now that it's been adjourned to 27th of July. We have a lot for you here on CTTV and City FM. Let's still remain in the courts because the Tamale High Court has convicted Hajia Mohammed and Latifa to 12 years imprisonment over the murder of 90-year-old Ekuya Dente. Let's bring that inset.
The Tamale High Court has convicted Hajia Mohammed, Serena and Latifa Bomaye to 12 years imprisonment over the murder of 90-year-old Ekia Dente at Kafaba in the Savannah region. Now, on July 23, 2020, Ekia Dente was lynched over witchcraft accusations. Police arrested 7 people, including the chief of the Kafaba community, Seidu Yaya. Hajia Serena Mohammed and Latifa Bomaye were later arrested at their hideouts. The two were charged for attempted murder and murder. However, the other accused persons were acquitted after the Regional Attorney General's Department legally counseled the police to do so.
When this news broke, it was a very sad one, and we're all hoping to follow it keenly and see what happens at the end of the day. I think it's a step in the right direction that these 2 individuals involved have been imprisoned for 12 years.
Yes.
And it's going to serve as a deterrent to others, because the issue of let me say, maltreating or abusing these people classified as witches. It's something that is happening almost every now and then.
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, it's going to definitely serve as a deterrent going forward. I've seen that the new gender minister has taken up the banishing what we used to call witch camps very seriously during her tenure as gender minister. We hope that it's able to yield some positive results. But Philip, yeah, you're right. It was quite traumatic, really. And I mean, these weren't scenes we were expecting that. They are quite remember in the newsroom when the story first came about the killing of Madame Ekia Dente and how helpless she was in the situation, right? So for me, I think it's great, even though the time period was quite a bit much when there was enough evidence to see, right? A 2-year period to go through a case like this, then again raises questions, right? So the swiftness of it is also important. But nonetheless, it's great that it's finally come. It's the killing is still quite fresh in the minds of Ghanaians, and I really hope it serves as a deterrent going forward, so that people will,
because you can't take the law into your hands and say that this person is a witch,
and now you've lost 12 productive years of your life because of something that was completely needless, right? So it's great that it's come, but hopefully for subsequent ones, the swiftness, right? Because they say justice delayed, to an extent, it's justice denied.
Well, let's see how other cases of this nature would be dealt with now that the gender minister is up and doing. Let's put it that way. You're still watching CNR Extra here on CTV. Still to come. Father of late NSMQ star reveals desperate attempts to save son's life. And stay with us. We'll be back with more stories.
The day of a competition, from the shores to the pools to the beaches across the land. If you fancy yourself a competitive swimmer, this is for you. The CTTV National Swimming Championships is happening on the 15th and the 16th of July 2023 at the Trust Sports Emporium. To register, WhatsApp your name, age and contact details to 0558 973 973 or call 0205 973 973. The CTTV National Swimming Championships is brought to you by CTTV with support from 97.3 City FM and the Ghana Swimming Association.
Many thanks for staying with us here on CNR Extra. Let's bring you some more stories. And food suppliers, they are picketing at the National Food Buffer Stock Company Limited to demand unpaid debt. Let's bring you that insight.
Members of the National Food Suppliers Association on Tuesday besieged the premises of the National Food Buffer Stock Company to demand monies owed them. The association says the picketing is due to government's failure to settle the over 2 years arrears owed its members. However, after several engagements with government to have their concerns addressed, the suppliers say they are yet to receive their money from authorities. City News' Kwekwejama Ansa was with the protesters and has filed this report.
Those chants by the disgruntled food suppliers is directed at the CEO of the National Food Buffer Stock Company, their employer in the delivery value chain, asking for their monies to be paid. The food suppliers, who are over 270, are dotted across the 16 regions of Ghana and provide food supplies like rice, maize, oil, sugar, among others, to senior high schools upon the request from the National Food Buffer Stock Company. This arrangement is made under the school feeding program, which is a provision under the free SHS policy. According to the suppliers, government reimburses them after delivering the items to the various schools. However, that agreement has been breached at least for the past 2 years. This means the government owes food suppliers millions of Ghana cedis and is yet to pay, hence the picketing by the affected suppliers on Tuesday. Betha Amega is one of such suppliers whose money for supply to about 83 schools
se wo kura mewa to ha no mo fa me nkosie no mo ya obi ahu se omo na ma na mawu efi se e kan na yi me afifie dida me bp so akosoro dida
wo ka ne ye kaka na ye hwesika be se
me exact money me sika over 100 billion and e wo bafa omo ntua me kai over 100 billion enye 100 million over 10 million Ghana cedi.
Ajwa Bruni is another aggrieved food supplier who has besieged the national.
So for the food suppliers, until government pays them the arrears, they are not leaving the premises of the Buffer Stock Company because they came in there with their mattresses, with their blankets, with their mats, with their coat and everything that they can feel comfortable there. Let's cross over to my colleague, Kwekwejama Ansa, who is stationed at the premises of the National Food Buffer Stock Company, to bring us more of what is happening there. Kweku, if you can hear me, what is happening currently at the premises of the National Food Buffer Stock Company?
So exactly as you stated, I am here at the premises of the National Food Buffer Stock Company, where some suppliers of food items to the various senior high schools under the policy have actually converged since yesterday. So they came here yesterday in demand of some monies they say they have been working for at least for the past 2 years. They say it hasn't been paid by the National Food Buffer Stock Company Limited. So in the process of that, they have come here to picket. Well, they haven't left yet. They say that they are going to picket until they hear from either the Food Buffer Stock Company or the government. They just want to be assured that the monies are going to be given them, because the monies they have been mentioning, it's, very huge amount of monies that we're talking about. These people supply rice, maize, sugar, a number of food items to the various senior high schools. And as you can see them, they are in their red armbands. This is to signal to the Buffer Stock Company Limited and to government that they are unhappy with the current situation. Yesterday, they came here in their numbers. Well, not a lot of people are here, but we understand that this is to represent the number of people who are food suppliers across the length and breadth of the country. So at least some 20 people have been here since yesterday. Last night we came here and around 10 p.m. these people were here, comfortably sleeping on the bare floor. Some of them had mats, and this they say that it is better to sleep here than to move to their various homes because they are being chased by their debtors. And so you see a lot of them on their mats with their pillows and all of that. Yeah, and the chants is actually still going on. I'm sure you're hearing. And interestingly, I've been asking, have they taken their bath? Have they brushed and all of that? Well, some of them say that they're yet to even take their bath, but then they are going to risk everything to make sure that they hear from government. And so, unfortunately, we've not been able to raise the CEO of the Food Buffer Stock Company Limited, because we understand that he is indisposed, so as his other colleagues, and so it's been difficult to reach him. But then I want to speak to the spokesperson of this particular association. He has been very vocal over the period, and he has been calling for the arrangements to be made by the authorities to be able to pay them their monies. Let me speak to him briefly, sir. I came here yesterday.
I'm doing coffee.
Okay, sure. So, okay, so he says that he's actually about to have his breakfast, and this happened yesterday. So they had lunch here yesterday, and they also had supper here yesterday. And so, as you can see, he says that he's about to have his breakfast. Please share with me, what breakfast are you taking?
I'm doing coffee now.
Okay. And well, I came here as of 10 p.m. yesterday, and I saw a number of your people all here. They say that they are not going to relent on their efforts to get government to pay them. Is it still in force? Are you still waiting to hear from the?
Yes, we are waiting. We are waiting till we are paid, as we have indicated in our earlier communications. We have gone beyond talking. We have gone beyond meetings and promises and all that. We have gone beyond promises. We have gone beyond. We have gone beyond meetings and all that. What we are interested in now is for us to be given the money. If you watch all these women here, it's not as if they don't have comfort or luxury of their own homes, bedrooms, or wherever to go and sit. It's not as if they don't have any economic activities doing as we speak. They have something doing, but what is pressing them, leaving their home, it is more. It is more than the eyes can meet. And that is why we are determined not to go. We are determined to be here. They can pretend they don't hear us. They can pretend they don't know that we are here. But we are okay being here because we feel safer. We feel much more comfortable being here. So that's okay. I'm about to fix my coffee here. Okay. As you can see, I brought my coffee. I brought my sugar.
So, I know that you've been here for at least for the past 12 hours. Just tell us, have you been able to hear from any authority?
No, we are used to their indifferent attitude. They have not said anything. They have not communicated to us. We are okay. That is how they have treated us over the years. So we are used to it. In any case, we are not looking forward for them coming to tell us anything because they don't have anything to tell us. All they have to tell us is the money. We're waiting for the money. 2022, government allotted or Parliament allotted 2.3 billion for the free SHS program. In 2023, government allotted 3 billion for the free SHS. If nothing at all, the school feeding should take about 70% of the cost. Where is the money? That's what we are asking for. We are not begging for it. It is what we have worked for it. That's why we're demanding for it.
I'm grateful for speaking to us there. So I just spoke to the spokesperson for the National Food Suppliers Association. These actually it's a fraction of the number of food suppliers we have here in the country. We understand over 275 of them are have been working with the National Food Buffer Stock Company over the period, and they have indicated their resolve. They say that they just want to have their monies paid to them. Philip.
Rightly so. Kweku Ediamansa, many thanks for your time. We are grateful. Keep station there and monitor what is going to happen there. I'm sure that they are going to stay another night there. Well, let's see how that unfolds. But Jude, will you say that this is like an upgrade of what the pensioner bondholders are? They are picketed because you come there with your coffee, you come there with your mat, you come there with your pillow, and you are sleeping there, waiting for the authorities to speak to you. They are not out yet, which we hope that very soon they are going to be out to speak to the food supplies. But what do you make of this?
I mean, for the pensioner bondholders, they are quite elderly, right? So you won't expect them to sleep and overnight, considering the circumstances and the space. I mean, but it's quite similar to what we saw the nurses do when they went demanding for employment, right, at the health ministry a year or two ago. I mean, Philip, the point is that it takes some level of desperation and frustration to get to the point where you feel that you are actually safer in the premises of the food buffer stock as against the comfort of your bed, right? And you can understand, in one of the interviews Kweku Eduama did yesterday, one of the demonstrators mentioned that in 2021, government sat them down in a meeting and got them to agree to supply on credit, right? And what happened was that at the end of the year, a fraction of what they paid in terms of supplied, right, was paid back to them by government. And this year, nothing has been paid. They go on to mention how when they follow the budget reading, some amount of money has been allocated for them, but still with that, they don't see anything coming. So it can be quite frustrating, right? And like I've said, sometimes when people go out to demonstrate, they only want to see some level of cooperation, right? Of course, they want to have their demands met, but sometimes it's the way you talk to them, the way you engage them, that helps in mitigating the situation. So I hope that government is listening and would, as a matter of urgency, reach out to them and try and explain things. And in the long term, more importantly, in the long term, make sure that their monies are being paid.
Rightly so. So we hope that the various authorities or who is in charge of that particular sector will address the food supplies soon. Let's move away from this story and rather a sad note. The father of the late NSMQ star reveals desperate attempts to save his son's life. Let's bring you that insert.
The father of the late James Lutrot, a rising star in the National Science and Maths Quiz, has in a heartfelt statement revealed the relentless efforts made to save his son's life through medical interventions before his untimely demise. James Lutrot, a talented participant from Keta Senior High Technical School, Ketasco, lost his battle with a brief illness on Monday morning. He was pronounced deceased at a specialized hospital in Tema. City News' Fred Duho brings us more details in this report.
2-methylphenol and phenyl methanol are functional group isomers. Right?
True.
Yes.
Many Ghanaians are familiar with the annual program known as the National Science and Math Quiz, NSMQ. In 2021, thousands of people rallied behind Keta Senior High Technical School, Ketasco, hoping they would emerge as winners and break the dominance of perennial champions such as Presec, Prempeh College, and Adisco.
Keta Senior High Technical School has 37 points.
The team from Ketasco, consisting of Francisca Lamisi, James Lutrot, and Bright Senyo Gajo, captured the hearts of many, including management of City TV and City FM, with their outstanding performance. Francisca later pursued higher education in the United States, while Bright Senyo Gajo enrolled at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, KNUST.
So this is from City TV to Francisca Lamini of Ketasco. Congratulations for a good job, and congratulations to the Ketasco team. To all of you, to Alex, to Wanda, to Bright, to James. Where's James? Mr. Lutrot, all of you, you did amazing. It's James who took over from you, eh? No, that is good, good. So let's put our hands together for them. Francisca, God bless you. God bless you.
James Lutrot chose to study computer science at the University of Ghana.
For me, I think following your dream, I believe in following your dream. Never give up on your dreams and always think of your dream, and that will help you to move higher. And most importantly, you have to keep God first.
James was full of life and had hopes for the future. He had great ambitions to excel in his education. Sources revealed that James had been accepted into several international universities on full scholarships and was scheduled to leave the country before the end of 2023 to further his studies abroad.
He's in level 200. He was in level 200 as in when everything started. He had taken his SAT exams and then he was scheduled to start studying abroad on full scholarship. Yes.
Which university?
He actually wrote it, so we got replies from some of the universities. I can't really get into detail. You already know for reasons best known. So, but everything was in place for him to travel outside before.
Unfortunately, tragedy struck when news broke of James's sudden demise on Monday, July 3, 2023, after a brief illness. Speaking exclusively to City News, James's father, Mr. Philip Lutrot, expressed his deep sorrow and revealed that he had done everything possible to save his son's life, since noticing a change in his condition when he returned home in April.
Was it a case that probably doctors predicted in any form that the situation is quite critical, that he would need some serious intervention, whether medical assistance outside the country, and the family couldn't afford? Is there anything so beyond your control as a family?
Well, there was nothing beyond my control.
It was just a surprise.
But as I earlier said, the moment I realized there was something wrong with him, I didn't waste my time at all. We started attending to his health, and he himself later gave out some information pertaining to what was happening to him and what happened in the school, and some of the editions are being reserved for now.
Recounting the story to City News, a family friend, Boaz Ayita, mentioned that James passed away while receiving treatment at a specialized hospital in Tema.
There's a video circulating of a young man who is vomiting and pouring out blood. Please, I want you to know that is not James. James didn't pass on in a school or anywhere. He passed on in a hospital in Tema. He wasn't in school. It was a specialist hospital in Tema. I was at the hospital, and two other people were also at the hospital. His dad was called, and he also came to the hospital.
Dr. Ebenezer Owusu, the head of the Computer Science Department of the University of Ghana, expressed shock upon hearing the news.
Somebody full of life to that extent, just to lose him just like that is very, very sad. He was doing well, he was performing well. I don't have his transcript before me. I would have shown you.
A classmate of James also shared a comment about his life on campus.
I would say he's an awfully quiet person. He doesn't really talk much, but he was really punctual in class.
We mates from Kitasco, and they were those that made Kitasco proud during the 2021 National Science and Maths quiz. And then we became we are now one family.
The dad of James Lutrot has confirmed that indeed his son has passed after all attempts to survive him at one of the specialized hospitals in Tema. But here at the University of Ghana Computer Science Department, the head of department, Dr. Owusu, has also confirmed the same news, indicating that he was a brilliant student with promising future.
Well, we commiserate with the bereaved family and wish that all things will be done well and that James will be given a befitting burial. It's a very sad one.
I mean, Philip, our sincere and deepest condolences to the family during these very difficult times. I understand it can be very difficult to lose such a bright, young, emerging chap like that. I mean, it was unbelievable what the future had for him. I mean, with some of the exploits you have seen him do at such a young age. we plead with the public that they respect the privacy of the family. Those circulating all sort of unnecessary videos. I mean, so many rubbish in the system as to what led to his death. I think it's important to respect the privacy of the family to mourn and grieve one of their own. Our sympathies really to the family.
It's a very sad one. Anyway, you're still watching CNR Extra here on CCTV. Still to come. President Akufo-Addo unveils ambitious plan to expand tourist sites nationwide as he commissioned redeveloped Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park. Kindly stay with us. We'll be back with that story.
If you're a whiz kid that collects straight A's in your sleep, a brainy brains that aces quizzes without even trying, or a clever clogs that knows just about everything, then there's one more battle you have to win. The Literacy Challenge. The nationwide search for the best junior high student is on. Think it could be you going home with 10,000 Ghana cedis and a glitzy trophy? Then, in not less than 600 words, write a story that ends with the following statement. The happiest people do not have the best of everything, they make the best of everything they have. Stories should be written in your own handwriting with the deadline of Saturday, the 15th of July 2023 in mind. Submissions must include an endorsement by a parent or guardian and their full contact details. And once you're done, shoot off your entries to the front desk of City TV or City FM. Or you can send entries to PO Box GP 14123 Accra Central. For more inquiries, call 0558 973 973. The Literacy Challenge 2023 is powered by City TV, supported by City FM, and is sponsored by the Ghana National Gas Company, Bribby Crunchy Biscuits by M4 Foods, and SIC Insurance PLC.
You're welcome back. So yesterday, President Akufo-Addo commissioned the redeveloped Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park. Let's bring you that insight.
President Akufo-Addo has announced plans by government to construct more tourist sites across the country. Nana Akufo-Addo said government is seeking to cash in on the many opportunities within the tourism sector. Speaking at the commissioning of the redeveloped Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park in Accra, Nana Akufo-Addo said the tourism ministry should do everything to attract million visitors to the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park by close of this year. City News' Samir Wiafe has more.
The $3.5 million project, which began in July 2022, was aimed at giving the final resting place of Ghana's first president, Osajefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, and his wife, Fathia Nkrumah, a facelift. The Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park, built in July 1992 by former President Jerry John Rawlings, has never seen any renovation work since its construction. As part of efforts to boost the tourism industry, President Akufo-Addo in February 2022 announced that government has secured funding from the World Bank to develop the tourism industry, which included the redevelopment of the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park. Commissioning the park on Tuesday, the president charged the tourism ministry to ensure that its target of having 1 million domestic and international tourists visit the park is achieved.
The Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park, which attracted some 90,000 visitors annually before the renovation, is now expected to attract over 1 million tourists annually. I'm charging the Ministry of Arts, of Tourism, Arts and Culture and its agencies to devise effective marketing and promotional strategies to achieve the target of 1 million domestic and international tourist visitations to the park. Ladies and gentlemen, as part of measures to make Ghana the hub of tourism in West Africa, we're building museums and other tourist attractions in various parts of the country. The construction of a museum in Heroes Park for the Big Six, a memorial park in Cape Coast for the Aborigines, a memorial enclave in Tamale for the founders of the erstwhile Northern People's Party to symbolize their participation in the drive for national independence, and the completion of ongoing works at the Bonwe Museum and the Yaya Santoa Museum, both in Ejiso, are in the offing.
The family of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah expressed appreciation to government for redeveloping the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park.
Beautiful edifice there. You can go there and take your selfie. It's beautiful, and I think it's a step in the right direction that government has redeveloped this park that is going to serve as a tourist site for a number of people, and a lot of people would be wishing to see where the first president of the republic was.
I mean,
buried.
Philip, you are right. It's actually a very beautiful edifice. I mean, I was really impressed with what I saw in the news, the pictures, the stories, the space, everything looked very nice on TV. My only concern has got to do with what appears to be a lot of cynicism, really, that has greeted it from some sectors of the public. I say, no, probably will maintain it all. Some also saying it's a World Bank facility. It's got nothing to do with the president and all of that. My only concern is that let's enjoy the moment and let's hope that we are able to maintain it, right? So that in 10 years, in 15 years, it will still be as spick and span as we saw during the launch. I mean, one of my favorite quotes from Obama, right? He says that cynicism really is a choice. So is hope, right? But hope is definitely the better choice to make. So let's hope and let's keep the leadership of the place in check, in that we are able to follow it consistently and see the changes, so that in 5 years' time, in 10 years' time, it's still a very nice place where its tourism potential is enhanced. More people are coming to learn about the country and about the former president, and I'm sure it would inure to our benefit as a people. So,
Maintenance is key, and that is what we are expecting that the individuals who will be in charge of this beautiful edifice will do, because they are supposed to maintain it well. Well, this is how we end today's edition of CNR Extra here on City TV. My name is Philip Lata. I did this with Jude Mensah Duncan. Many thanks for your time, and keep watching City TV.
Yes, we are back. Wines of South Africa, Vossa, is back in Ghana for the biggest wine show ever. Date, Saturday, 15th July at the Labadi Beach Hotel, Accra. Time, 7 p.m. sharp. Wines of South Africa Grand Tasting Event 2023 is proudly brought to you by Wines of South Africa and John Williams Consults Ghana. This event is sponsored by Ghana Export Promotion Authority and Best National Bank. Partner